I recently read a book called Fluke, which says that we give too much credit to ourselves for our success. Exchange4Media is about serendipity. Okay. It happened through God's wish. Become a community for marketeers, for advertisers, agency professionals. Today, creators are doing a lot of work which would traditionally be done by creative agency. The advertising industry became more than $1 trillion. $650 billion goes in digital and almost $350 billion comes to traditional media. $460 billion goes to two giants, Meta and Google. Creator economy is giving birth to the social commerce economy. E-commerce and content are coming together. Madison Avenue, advertising, Hollywood, which is entertainment, Silicon Valley, which is tech, are coming together. Everything is about content, community, and commerce.
YouTube CEO Neil Mohan mentioned that India is gaining a lot of global attention.
Creative economy professionals or creators, they want more than 21,000 crores from YouTube. And the creative brands are becoming bigger and bigger. There's ad fraud, there are bots. We're in the war of narratives. We don't know what's true, so we have to rely on the Ministry of Defense authentic channel. Don't just believe everything you get on WhatsApp or you see on social media. When he spoke to the nation, he was able to communicate very effectively that we chose the ceasefire on our terms. For 20 years, I've been saying newspapers are declining. Newspapers are doing well. Newspaper has still more credibility. I'll say that. I'm spending 6.5 hours on my screen every day. I need to reduce it to 3-4 hours. Today, 30-40% of the revenues of radio platforms are coming from digital. People went to the Ahmedabad concert of a certain singer, which created a boom for the city.
Coldplay, Mumbai.
So clearly, you have to create an experience, and the pull has to be big enough. People like to pay if the content is good and differentiated and unique. You take other events, an India Today conclave or an HT Leadership Summit or a News 18 conclave.
Correct. Do you think in India the audience is ready for a new subscription?
People are paying for Spotify, in the business genre for the Ken, for the morning context, paying for ET Prime, paying for Mint subscription.
Is AI going to take over our newsrooms?
AI, of course, is impacting. You can today convert text into audio, video, AI anchors. But the fact is, people like to follow anchors, individuals, their take. I don't think AI will replace us, but if we do not use AI, we will be replaced. Today, there are AI filters. So, if somebody's written an article, you can do an AI check. AI clearly is an ally, if used, can make us more valuable. Entrepreneurship has glamorized a lot. It is not for the faint-hearted. Do something that you enjoy doing. Don't do something just because it's fashionable to do.
Hi everyone. Today on the show, we are joined by a veteran of Indian media, an entrepreneur and thought leader, Dr. Annurag Batra. He's the founder and chairman of Exchange4Media Group and editor-in-chief of BW Businessworld. We'll talk about his entrepreneurial journey, the evolution of Indian media, the rise of creator economy, and what the future will look like with AI entering the newsroom. Dr. Batra, thank you for taking out the time from your busy schedule. Welcome to the Good Life podcast. And I'm really excited to learn about your entrepreneurial journey, how you started Exchange4Media Group, and how you managed to, write for the business world as the chief editor. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation with you.
I have a long way to go. It's work in progress. And I'm very grateful to God for what God has given me.
You started Exchange4Media back in 2000, right? Can you, share your experience and what made you start a media company back then and how you've diversified today? Just talk about that, please.
Exchange4Media is about serendipity. It happened through God's wish.
All right.
I recently read a book 2 months back called Fluke by Brian Clough, which says that we give too much credit to ourselves for our success.
Correct.
Or whatever we achieve in life and too little for God is what serendipity does. And to emphasize the point, the world will be a very different place if Donald Trump hadn't ducked. So Exchange4Media is an act of serendipity. It happened through some chance, luck, whatever you may want to say. I used to work for J. Walter Thompson, and I had a friend, Amit, who used to work there, and we were both in media planning, buying. I was an outdoor for a while, and we realized that the process of media planning and buying is very inefficient. So we said if we build a marketplace which does the evaluation, which does the buy, which does the post-fulfillment part. Then we can create a marketplace for the media, advertising, communication industry. This was 25 years back. When I'm talking to you today, in 2 months we'll complete 25 years.
Wow.
So we started to build a marketplace for the media advertising industry where buying and selling of media time and space would happen. Me, Amit, Naval started it. Today, me and Naval are part of the company. Naval runs the company. And Exchange4Media, with all humility, has become the homepage of everybody in the brand, marketing, advertising, media ecosystem. We've become a community for marketeers, for advertisers, for agency professionals, for media professionals, for digital creator, for influencer.
So some of your brands are Pitch and Businessworld.
So Pitch, Impact, Reality Plus, so much of media. So they are part of Exchange4Media. Businessworld is entirely different from Exchange4Media. It existed for 35 years before acquired. It is in the 45th plus year now. So the Businessworld is independent and it's existed. I did not create it. The Sarkars of ABP created it. I acquired it from them 11 plus years back.
And you revived it.
A long way to go. It's always work in progress. But Exchange4Media happened because we wanted to build a marketplace for the media industry. For the first 3.5 years, we tried to build that. We're ahead of time. We were young. We didn't know many people. It didn't happen. People didn't believe in the power of a B2B marketplace. So we started a newsletter for our brand building, which in the first 2 years itself became the homepage of everybody in marketing, advertising, media. Then we launched our marketing magazine Pitch on 15th October 2003. Then in June 2004, we launched Impact. On 27th August 2004, we launched the real estate magazine Reality Plus. 16 years back, we launched Samachar4Media, which is a website on the business of media. So, you know, now we have 75 IPs, which are the leaders, pioneers in this space. Like today, we did the Exchange4Media Do Good awards, which are about communication for social impact. So clearly, God has been kind. The industry has been very supportive. And that's how we've been able to build the Exchange4Media community. Our teams at Exchange4Media have been very, very supportive, and they've led to build. I don't run eForum on a day-to-day basis. Naval and a set of people that work with Naval do. So I spend most of my time in Businessworld, and I have a long way to go with that.
So how do you think the industry has evolved in the last 20-25 years? You've had a very long journey, and you've literally set a very strong ecosystem of marketeers and advertisers, and you have a very strong voice in the industry. So
let me tell you, Isha, first of all, of course, the world is a very different place than it was 25 years back. Business is a very different place where it was 25 years back, and hence the marketing, advertising, media ecosystem is very different. One, simply 25 years back, Exchange4Media was a narrow website on media planning buying. Because media planners had a very influential say in how a media brand or a brand would invest where in media, how much. It still has. But the marketers have a little more involvement, much more involvement in that process. Today, clients are taking decisions directly. So that's the biggest change. But today, there are lots of mid-sized, small agencies in the creative domain. Today, creators are doing a lot of work which would traditionally be done by creative agency. In the last 2 years, there are AI tools which are creating videos, which are creating content. So the industry's changed. First, last year was a very important year. The advertising industry became more than $1 trillion. Out of the $6 trillion, $650 billion goes in digital, and almost $350 billion comes to traditional media. Out of this 650, almost $460 billion goes to two giants, Meta and Google, and rest 190 is amongst everybody. So clearly the creator economy has grown, the influencer economy has grown, and is still growing. And what is happening is the creator economy is giving birth to the social commerce economy. E-commerce and content are coming together. For 2 decades I've been talking about the power of communication. And traditionally, I would say that Madison Avenue, which is advertising, Hollywood, which is entertainment, and Silicon Valley, which is tech, are coming together. Today we see that happening in a true sense. So clearly everything is about content, community and commerce, and that is what Exchange4Media has been founded on.
Okay, so it's like a complete ecosystem of everything related to marketing, advertising, communication, events, right?
So events bring the community face to face.
Like you rightly said, creator economy is on the rise, and recently YouTube CEO Neil Mohan was in India, and he also mentioned that India is, gaining a lot of global attention when it comes to creators and influencers here. I think around
21,000 crores have been given by YouTube. The Indian creative economy professionals or creators, they want more than 21,000 crores from YouTube.
Wow.
So you can imagine how much is YouTube earned, right?
Correct.
So clearly YouTube has become massive. Today video has become massive.
Yeah.
Whether it's news, entertainment, specialist genre, people want to consume specialist content.
Yeah.
The creators are authentic. They have a certain flavor in which they do content. It's more interesting. And the creative brands are becoming bigger and bigger. They're like mainstream media.
How do you see the change from traditional media, print, TV, to today's digital first approach? We are also stepping into, creator economy now. So how do you see the whole landscape changing?
Clearly, as I said at the start, it has changed. Digital is the norm. The spends, we do the pitch medicine advertising outlook. This year we've said that digital in the next 3 years will be 40% of the spends. It's already about 28-30%. It's growing in some categories. For some brands, it's 40-50% is going into digital. So digital is clearly growing. But what is connected TV digital? And for 20 years I've been saying newspapers are declining. Newspapers are doing well. They've also built digital.
Will they continue
They will continue. Magazines are we are in the business as a newspaper. You're in the business of news and audiences.
Yeah.
Content and audiences. Of course, newspaper has still more credibility. I'll say that. I read a newspaper because I know what is printed is good.
Well researched. Authentic.
And the established media brands have a reputation to protect. Whenever something like this happens, there are new, platforms being set up, and some of them are irresponsible. I'm not saying they have malafied it, but they're irresponsible. They're quick to jump to conclusions. So I think, look at what Washington Post has done, New York Times have done. Are they digital players? They are. People are paying subscription money.
Correct. Yeah.
The advertising is growing. So clearly, I think the media brands have to reinvent themselves. Some have reinvented themselves, and some will continue to reinvent. But digital is growing. The creative economy is growing. Influencers are getting share of that money. It will only grow. However, in influencers, the quality of engagement is an issue. Plus, some influencers, the ROI is not good because they have become so expensive. So these are two issues that need to be tackled. Media brands need to reinvent themselves. And reinvention means accepting that the world has changed, adapting to the new ways of how consumers consume content. Look at radio. Today, radio has become digital audio broadcasting.
Yeah.
Today, 30-40% of the revenues of radio platforms are coming from digital, and the rest 30 are coming from events, experiential. So, the traditional radio is 30-40%, and that has a role to play. So the mediums reinvent themselves. Having said the mediums that won't reinvent themselves, for example, you have to become video first. You have to become social media first.
Correct.
You have to become short form content. But you also have to, it's not either or. You have to, every medium has its own characteristic. I mean, I don't have my phone, I'm talking. In the morning, I like to read newspapers for 2 hours. I still buy magazines. I read the Time 100 because I can read it on Kindle, but I read it in physical copy. So there is a certain I've been saying, a lean forward experience when you read a newspaper, magazine. Plus, we have spending too much. I'm spending 6.5 hours on my screen every day. I need to reduce it to 3-4 hours.
Correct.
So, I will choose what I want to, between answering emails and looking at my social media and consuming videos and consuming content. So, we'll have to see why are people coming to a certain medium. What is our strength? How do we retain that strength and take that to digital?
And what about movies?
Big
again, screen versus
today,
OTT.
More and more content is being created. Not sure all of it is good content.
Yeah.
It's going in the dustbin, if I may say. That's why a certain OTT player in India has started to focus on quality rather than quantity. So today we are consuming content more. Are we consuming content in cinemas? I don't know. I mean, what can we learn from Southern cinema? Why? Because they are making movies on a certain scale. Ultimately, the news channel and cinema have the same issue. We are working with old formulas. We have to come up with new ideas. We have to be creative. We have to think out of the box.
Yeah.
Without losing the strengths we have. So also look at cinemas. Its cost of real estate is huge.
It is.
The F&B economy pricing already at its peak. How do you make money from the theatre?
How does that affect the traditional media businesses and brands? I mean, does it affect the traditional brand marketing
it
business?
does because some amount of money instead of traditional media is going to influencers.
Yeah.
However, the quality of engagement on some of the influencers has to be seen. Also, there is huge wastage in digital. There is ad fraud. There are bots. So I'm not sure every money that goes into digital is actually going towards brand awareness or brand salience or creativity. At least 20% goes waste, if not 30 or 40%. But yes, today more and more brands are putting money on creators and influencers.
And less on TV, radio, print.
TV, again, let's say video, connected TV ecosystem is growing. So the media brands are in the business of content and audiences.
Yeah.
So they're creating content in formats where the audiences are. So they're creating content in video, they're creating content for YouTube, let's take news channels. The news anchors are influencers in their own right. They're very big. So clearly, I would say in the news space, we're in the war of narratives.
Yeah.
So the growth of digital and creator economy has also given rise to lots of voices, not necessarily authentic, not necessarily positive.
Yeah.
They're creating a lot of division. We live in the era of narratives. We live in the era of fake,
misinformation, propaganda.
In the last 3 weeks, especially the last
India-Pakistan conflict.
You've seen, we don't know what's true, so we have to rely on the Ministry of Defense authentic channel. We have to rely on what the Indian...
How can we cut through the noise? There's a lot of
believe
clutter.
Credible sources.
But
question everything you do. Don't just believe everything you get on WhatsApp or you see on social media. Go to handles that are responsible, that have a history. Go to government,
no misinformation.
There is a counter to the propaganda war, that elements that are against India. So we have to be careful. It's like, I don't think today's era we can take whatever we see on face value. We have to question. We have to question, some things. There was a fake news on Saturday night, Imran Khan is dead. Clearly he wasn't, so that was propaganda. I can go on.
Correct.
There have been propaganda about Indian fighter jets being down. That may not be true. What has also happened is the news channels become shrill.
So where are we headed?
We live in cacophony.
Will traditional publishers and TV channels or journalists because everyone has a voice today.
Yes, but Isha, all the more if you're a responsible large media house, you're a traditional media house, whether you're in a Hindustan Times, you're a Times of India, you're the Hindu. I mean, Hindu made a mistake, but it apologized. It deleted the story. It was forced to apologize. So media companies also have to be careful. There is, somebody said 20 years back, print is dead. Dainik Bhaskar's profit this year was 460 crores.
Okay.
People are flocking to print brands because there is credibility. In digital you delete. In print you have to be careful about what you print.
Correct.
So, I guess you need a curator You need a curated feed of what you're interested in, what you believe in,
Correct.
and what is factual and what is credible. You need to leave the junk out. So you have to be careful. It's a war of narratives. You're careful about what you drink. You don't drink water on the street because it may be adulterated or clean. You have to have the same principle in news. You just can't have anything that is out to you.
But isn't that too much effort for the consumer, for the viewer?
So that's where they will discover credible sources. That's where the credibility of the media brands come into play. Because if it's here, it'll be possibly true. In fact, this is an opportunity for traditional media brands to have the restraint. You can be late, but you can be right.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the first and to be wrong.
Yeah.
So clearly it's an opportunity for media brands to be authentic, slow. Yes, we live in the era of, instant delivery, quick commerce, quick news, quick judgments. The tempers are running high.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the way our foreign secretary was trolled in his, Mr. Misri. What a fine gentleman and what a professional he is. So I think we have to discount a lot of what we see on Twitter. We have to go to real world. Yes, Twitter is the global public square. Twitter. But you have to be careful in what you consume, what you believe, what shapes your view.
You and I possibly have that awareness and understanding, and probably we can take the right decision, who to trust, whom not to trust. But that's not the case with people in tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
No, I'm sure.
So what do they do?
They'll get wiser. As they realize, they get wiser. Also, there's an algorithm. So the more you consume something, the more of similar stuff is thrown at you. Or it comes to you. See, the beauty about technology is as technology grows, we also find ways to negate the ill impact of the economy. So if there are 10 ways to create deep fakes, there are 20 tools to be able to figure out deep fakes.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will happen as we go along. People will do fact checking. People will use tools to ascertain if this story is authentic.
So we can rely on AI.
Rely on tools, simple tools. So, we'll be careful. Consumers also learn. Consumers of news also learn. Media brands will educate them.
Correct.
Media platforms that have a stake, not only in their existence or their profit or their relevance or impact, but we all as media people have a stake that this country does well. We have got whatever we got because of this country. I mean, I think the government of India was very, very prudent in achieving its strategic objectives and stepping back when it could have, and it did. And, the fact is, nobody can deny that the Indian armed forces and the Indian military destroyed 9 terror bases. We saw the funeral. So we did achieve some of the objectives, and maybe we had some losses, but the fact is that the government was bold enough to be able to do this successfully. And we are a larger economy, 11 times bigger than Pakistan. So when we achieved a lot and we agreed to a ceasefire, but there were people baying for Pakistan's blood. For taking over Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. People were unhappy with the Prime Minister. They were unhappy. But peace works. I think we've sent enough deterrent that next time they think about doing something, they'll be careful. Again, there are multiple narratives.
But news has a very important role to play in all of this, because people base an opinion about,
They change it also.
They change it also.
Presented with the right information.
Yeah.
And I think the government has done, I think Prime Minister Modi has always been a great communicator. People, when it comes to issues of national importance, strategic importance, defense, security, I think we have to speak in one voice. And when we speak in diverse voices, it's used by our opponents. I think the government did very well in the situation and in the limited leeway it had. I think the Prime Minister, when he spoke to the nation yesterday, he was able to communicate very effectively that we chose the ceasefire on our terms, and the ceasefire was the right thing. War doesn't work. There is a life that is at stake. There is loss of lives of Jawans. There's loss of resources, and there's loss of business. We are a country that is growing. We're a country which has almost 2,000 GCCs, 1,700 plus, and more coming. We have more than 10 million visitors. We have foreign investment. We don't go to the IMF every now and then. We're a country which is genuinely, much more to lose at war. So we achieved our objectives. We stepped back. I think we built. Next time they'll be more careful, and I'm sure we will build our defenses in a better. So I think when the Prime Minister communicates, it does bring a certain gravitas and authority to what he says. Some parts of our society have become cynical. They question everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if
There's
that's
too
right
much
or
opinion
wrong.
about everything.
Yeah, we become more skeptical about everything.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this is a time to be skeptical. This is time to be reflective. This is time to be calm. This is a time to let the government do what they have to, and not add to the tempers.
No, very rightly said.
And it's very easy to say on Twitter, go and attack. You have no consequences.
And it wasn't a right decision to say yes to ceasefire. There were a lot of people with that mindset too.
There are people who like war. I'm not sure that's a good thing. I don't think war is good for any country. Definitely not good for India.
We should trust
our
armed
forces. It was thrust on us. So clearly, good or bad,
but it
and
will
the digital
to
consumption
be there,
of content is changing. So we have experience has to become important. But there's a dichotomy. People are going to more and more live events, spending much more money, traveling from one city to another.
Correct.
People went to the Ahmedabad concert of a certain singer, which created a boom for the city.
Coldplay, Mumbai.
Right. So clearly, you have to create an experience, and the pull has to be big enough. So it has to be exceptional content, marketed well.
Okay. So you run multiple events, across advertising, marketing, community building, like you said. So could you talk about that and how is it helping brands?
That's more business to business in Exchange4Media. See, when you bring the community together, it's a business to business event. If you are the number one player, or you're the pioneer, or the creator of unique IPs, people will come. You also have a locus standi editorially. You also talk to them editorially. What is the work that is happening, what can be done, what needs to be done. And there's a difference in B2C. I mean, I don't mind talking about Shoma Chaudhary's event. She did a fab event which is focused on bringing interesting people, and 1,200 people showed up for the event. Almost 600-700 paid, right? You take other events, people are paying money to attend events, whether it's an India Today conclave or an HT Leadership Summit or a News 18 conclave.
Correct.
So people are paying for B2C events. Now B2C entertainment is another, you talked about. Coldplay or Ed Sheeran or even Karan Aujla, people they're being sold off. This week, Guns N' Roses coming to Mumbai, Brian. So the entertainment economy also, people want experiences. After COVID, the YOLO principle has taken over. You only live once. So people want experiences. And the fact is, you could have done this on Zoom, but you're doing this face to face. The quality of, you can see my body language, I can see your body language. It's a certain experience, even recording it. It's not the same on Zoom, but Zoom works in certain ways. So it's, choosing upon the relevance and importance and depth of the IP, whether it's in business to business or in business to consumer. Consumers are willing to engage with IPs.
Sure.
And because consumers are there, sponsors are willing to engage with. Look at the number of lit fests. I mean, they're all thriving, or most of them are thriving.
So people are willing to spend on experiences.
Yes, already. You can see in data.
Yeah.
I don't have to say it.
Sure. You also talked about subscription. Do you think in India the audience is ready for a new subscription just yet? Digital subscription?
We are paying for Netflix, we are paying for Amazon.
But not for news so much.
So maybe tomorrow there'll be a premium version of YouTube. I don't know. Maybe there already is in the world.
There is.
Right? So I don't know what the revenues are. But people are paying for Spotify, people are paying in the business genre for the Ken, for the morning context, therefore paying for ET Prime, therefore paying for Mint subscription. So there clearly people like to pay if the content is good and differentiated and unique. they like to pay for it. So it's not a certain audience.
So the Indian consumer is also ready to pay?
Yes.
And earlier that wasn't the case. He was a very value-seeking audience.
We're still value-seeking, but for content that is valuable for work or valuable for domain expertise,
they are willing to pay.
People are willing to pay.
So have you reached a point where content creators or influencers are a threat to traditional media publishers and journalists? Or do you see a collaboration happening?
See, we live in an era of abundance. It's not either or. Clearly, they've made a mark for themselves. But every person has a role to play. The influencer has a role to play. A media platform has a role to play. There's certain clarity. Also, let me say, some of the media platforms have been able to reinvent themselves. Also, some influencers which started in narrow category or were narrow or differentiated have tried to become wide. Correct. They want to be every, so they've diluted themselves. Also, credibility of some of the influencers is under question. So, they have a role to play. They'll continue, but not necessarily they're a threat. We can collaborate. They are on some of our platforms. They still love mass media. They love endorsement. I can tell you, running a company. So I think we live in an era of and. We still don't live in an era of either or.
Sure. So have you reached that stage where, if someone wants to, be a journalist or be a reporter, do they necessarily need to have that education?
Today you don't have to. For example, I'm an entrepreneur, but I am also a content person. I'm a journalist. I didn't go to a media school. I went to an engineering school. Then I went to a business school. I worked for 5 years. I didn't want to be in this space. I wanted to build a marketplace. We started doing content, and that's what. So today, as long as, look at the influencers. They haven't.
It's all about storytelling.
It's about storytelling. It's not even about expensive equipment. It's about being authentic. It's about having a point of view. It's
engagement.
It is about consistency, and then you get somewhere and then you formalize it. So as long as you have an interesting point of view, a nuanced point of view, the more you do it, you get better. You become a domain authority, what we call an influencer.
So if you want to be a journalist, it's no longer necessary
to go to a school. But you can learn tools, you can get inspiration, you can learn from your peers, so formal education, I will never say don't do. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but just formal education is not good enough.
You need to constantly upskill yourself.
Upskill, and you need to have the skills for it. You need to have the orientation, what you can learn. There is a space for theory and there is a space for on-the-job learning. There is a space for exposure to the industry.
That brings me to the next topic, and that's the buzzword again, AI, right? Is AI going to take over our newsrooms? How is news going to be created in the future, both editorially and operationally? How will that work out?
AI, of course, is impacting. You can today convert text into audio, video. You can have AI anchors. But the fact is, people like to follow anchors, individuals, their take. And technology cannot replace ourselves. Yes, it can replace some work that humans do. The tools can shorten the time, shorten the cost. Today, for a lot of shoots, you can do it through tools.
Correct.
But the fact is, the point of view has to be authentic. The take has to be. Today, there are AI filters. So, if somebody's written an article, you can do an AI check. And if 95%, 80% articles, that's not authentic. I don't think AI will replace us. But if we do not use AI, we will be replaced. I think there is a nuanced difference. AI clearly is an ally, if used, can make us more valuable. But if we don't use AI, then we will not be relevant. And today, AI also makes sure that we can use AI tools and use our investments in other areas. So to say that AI will not impact us is foolhardy, but AI will replace us is also foolhardy. The truth is somewhere in between.
So Dr. Batra, can you share some valuable insights for budding entrepreneurs? You've been a very successful entrepreneur, a veteran in the media industry for almost 25 years now. What are some insights?
Isha, I still have a long way to go. I have lots of things to improve, fix. evolve, and I'm work in progress. So I have a long way to go. It's kind of you to call me successful, but I have a long way to go. We have to reinvent ourselves, and entrepreneurship happens serendipitously to me. So I would only say is that I don't know. I think the young entrepreneurs are much more smarter. Their ambition is global. They're really smart. I talked about the concept of reverse mentoring many years back. I think I need to learn from them. So I'm not sure I can tell anyone. But from my own experiences, the only thing I can say, entrepreneurship has glamorized a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of
Can you simplify it? Can you break it down for us? What exactly is
it? It is not for the faint-hearted. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. You have to be in it for a long time. You have to be dogged. You have to be able to deal with uncertainty. You have to take the good with the bad. And you have to take a long-term view. You have to never say die attitude. You have to be always optimistic. And it's about trade-offs. What do you spend? When my children were younger, I was too busy at work. I would come home to sleep. I now realize what I've missed. So in the last 4 or 5 years, I still am very work-focused. But the fact is, I spend a little more time with my children. They're grown-ups. I didn't spend enough time with my wife, because I started Exchange4Media. Today also, my focus is my work because lots to finish. You also need a very supportive spouse if you want to be an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship is a lot. I read this book called Hard Things, about hard things.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship is hard. It's not easy. We in the media glamorize capital raise and how much money has somebody raised. It's about how much is the revenue, how much is the profit, what is the impact. And as Confucius said, choose your hobby, you don't have to work. So do something that you enjoy doing. If it becomes your work and it becomes an enterprise, it's great. Don't do something just because it's fashionable to do.
So can we say content creators are entrepreneurs in their own right?
Yes, clearly they are. Today some content creators are doing 50 crores in revenue, some are doing 100 crores in revenue, many are doing 20 crores plus. So clearly they're mid-sized.
They've set up their own companies.
They are very entrepreneurial, and today you can be a housewife and do content which is unique to you, and you can, thanks to YouTube and other platforms, you can be somebody who has a voice and also has a business. So I think technology has liberated, it has democratized, and it has given a platform for people to make their voice heard and to also be their livelihood.
What are some tips to lead a good life?
I'm myself learning. The older I'm getting, the unsure of I am. I'm sure of some things, but I'm unsure.
Okay.
So, I can only share my experience. I won't say I can advise. I am learning. I have a lot to improve. The older I'm getting, I believe that, I have a lot more faith in God. I have a lot more faith in the universe. I do my best and leave it. But I would say, I read a book called Meditations for Mortals recently, and there is a chapter which talks about that there is a rabbi and he carries 2 chits in his paper. One's in both in Hebrew, and one says that I am the center of the world. Okay. The world was created for me. It's a very arrogant statement. And second, he carries a slip, I am nothing but dust, and I'm nobody. Yeah. So in life you have to have both the approaches. And I'm saying in a good way, when you center that what you do matters, you have to be responsible. And second is that, sometimes we take our work too seriously, our impact. Of course it does, but we are a part of
a much bigger plan.
Yeah. And second thing I would say is that don't be afraid of not achieving your goals in the time frames you set. Be at it, someday it will happen. Okay. God has a plan, believe in that plan. And life is about trade-offs. If you want to succeed, we are late in the evening doing this. I just finished a whole day of work. I can either be watching a movie or doing work or talking to you. I'm choosing to talk to you and do my work because that's what gives me fulfillment. Correct. Saturday I did not go to an event because my daughter was going back. 10 years back, I missed a lot of things that my daughter and son have done. So I think it's also about priorities. I work, but I also know my mother passed away 6 months and 18 days back. That I read this book 20 plus years back called Tuesdays with Maury. Spend more time with your loved ones. So chase your dream, but spend time with your loved ones.
Correct.
Do the best you can. Leave to God. Focus on what matters to you. We live in social media world, so we compare, but don't compare too much. We criticize, don't criticize too much. And don't complain. If you're alive, you have a lot of things going for you. Don't complain. And I always believe in the 3 H's I keep saying. One is hard work. Second is
happiness.
Humility.
Okay.
And third is hope.
Hope.
I wake up every day believing that tomorrow will be better than yesterday. I'll give it my best. God has a plan which is better than us. We believe that plan and keep going forward. I love this line, Isha. It is relevant for all your viewers. My favorite author, Randy Pausch, who did the last lecture and wrote the book Last Lecture, he said, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. So never be disheartened. Use that experience to be better. An entrepreneur never fails. It's the project that fails, the idea that fails. The entrepreneur learns from what he or she hasn't achieved and strives to do better.
Wow.
So learn from your experiences, be cheerful, look after your health, sleep 8 hours.
Okay.
A lot of you don't sleep enough. Sleep is the most important thing for doing well in life, for being mindful, for long-term health, for being attentive. So sleep a lot, rest a lot, don't feel guilty about nurturing your body, and God bless you.
Thank you so much for your time and for your advice. Thanks a lot, Dr. Batra.
Thank you.
I hope you all found this conversation insightful. If you like more such content, please follow the Good Life podcast so we can bring to you fresh and insightful content on a regular basis. See you until next time. Bye.